Hello friends, today in this tutorial we will be discussing about the two array methods which are called as splice and slice. So these are the two methods we will be explaining you in this tutorial. So basically the splice method and the splice method. So basically these are the two methods we will be discussing in this tutorial. So let me just show you an example here. Let me open my Visual Studio Code text editor. And here guys we will be discussing this example. So just basically this will be the difference here in between the splice and the slice. So we will be discussing about first of all the splice method guys. So majorly two differences are there guys. The splice method is used to remove or add the array elements, and the slice method is used to basically just slice a portion of the array. So let me just take example here. Let's suppose we have a we need to write here JavaScript code here. So we take a user's example here. So let's suppose we have a user's name array here. So Kane, then we have Tom, we have let's suppose Mitchell, you can see, and let's suppose we have four names out there. You can see that four names are there. So now if I want to call this function basically, which is called as users.splice, so this is a method I'm talking about here. So basically this takes two arguments guys. So basically let's suppose you can see the indexing again starts from 0 1 2 3. So if you check out this array, so this index represents 0, this 1, this represent 2, and this represent 3. So after this we need to splice it. So we need to splice it guys. So this array here. So with the help of this method you can remove or add array elements. So basically the very first thing we will do guys, we will be adding the array at a particular position. So let's suppose I give the index number 2 comma 0, and then we need to add, let's suppose we need to add some other name. Let's suppose I'd say that Warner and Smith. So these two names I will add inside this users array guys. These two arguments are very important here. So basically this argument represents at which index number you want to start, or you need to basically do this process. Let me again paste this code. So basically let me just show you. So this simply means that at which index number you want to insert this element, these two elements that we are talking about. So we need to insert at this index number. This is 0 1 2. So we need to insert in between these two positions because we need to insert before second index. So this Warner will be added after Tom, and so the expected output will be, if you see the output here for this, the output here will be Kane, and after Tom you will see these two elements will be added, and then we will got Smith, and lastly these two elements we will print out. So now if you check your result, so basically this returns an object, and if I just console log the users, so what it will do, it will modify this original array. It will add these two elements in between Tom and Mitchell. So if I now open with live server, and if I now go to the console here, you will clearly see that now the array will contain 6 elements out there, and 0 position 1, you can see that, and 3 position 4 5. So in between you can see Warner and Mitchell. You will see that in Tom and Mitchell you will see these two names have been successfully added. So this is just the use of the splice method. Basically it can be able to insert elements inside in between indexes of array. So let's suppose I change this index number to 0. So this will simply means that guys it will insert this, you can see it will insert this at the very starting here. You will see it will insert this at the very starting. So if I just refresh it now, so this Warner Smith will be added, you will see. at the very top here, you can see at the very starting of the array 0 1, and now comes the output here, Kane, Tom, Mitchell, Latham. You can see again 6 elements are present right here. So this value represents at which location you want to insert the elements to. So 0 represents the starting here, so at starting index. So if I change this index to 0 1 2 3, I change to 3 index here. So now what will happen? Kane, Tom, Mitchell, and after that Warner, Smith, and Latham will come. Even if you check the output here, the order here, Kane, Tom, Mitchell, Warner, Smith, you can see. So this value represents, the first argument represents at which location you want to insert the elements that you are here. You can just insert multiple elements as you want. There is no limit out there. You can insert as many array elements as you want here. So the array will grow here outside. So you can see the second variable that you will see. You are seeing in this. If I show you the second one, so the second, if you see this second argument here, guys, so this represents how many elements you want to remove before adding these elements right here. So for now we are not removing any elements, so that's why we are providing the 0 argument here. You can even remove elements as well. So let's suppose I want to remove elements, 2 elements, put a comma. So what will be the output here? So 0 1 2 3. In between Mitchell and Latham, these elements will be inserted, and we are removing 2 elements here. So if I run this code here, and so what will happen? So the array contains, you will see, Kane, and then Tom, and then we got Mitchell, and you can see this Latham value was removed, and you can see, and then Warner, Smith, you can see all these elements were added. So this simply means that, guys, wherever you are inserting the elements, after that, if any elements are present, you will be removing that. So let's suppose I change this value to 0 here. So what will be the output here? Because we are inserting at the very beginning here, so the output here will be simply, if I now write the output here, first one will be Warner, and then it will be Smith, and then all these values will come, this one, this one, this one, and this value represents here we need to remove these 2 elements from here. So this will be removed, this will be removed, and this will present, Mitchell and Latham. So if you now execute it, so now if you see, so clearly you will see this Kane and Tom is removed here. You can see we are removing 2 elements out there, so that's why these 2 elements are removed from the starting, and then we are inserting these values. So this is the meaning of splice method, guys. You will be able to remove elements also and add new elements inside the array as well. So this is a very complex method. You need to understand, you need to practice for a few minutes before you can master this method. You can see at the same time it is removing elements, and also at the same time it is also adding elements as well. So these elements are also added at the beginning of the array, and at the same time we are removing Kane and Tom. You can see 2 elements are removed, and let me change this value to 3. So this will be removed, Kane, Tom, Mitchell will be removed, and only Latham will be there. So if you now see Warner, Smith, Latham is present right here. So you can play with this method, try out any sort of combination as you want here, and you will be just want to practice this method. And the nice thing about this method, guys, it basically modifies the original array here. You can see we are invoking this method on this original array method. You can see users.splice. So this doesn't return a value. Basically it modifies the original array here, and it is returning out here console log. And after this, guys, let's suppose you don't need to add any sort of values. So let me take an example where we don't remove or add any elements. We only need to remove elements. So for removing the elements, it's very easy. Users.splice, and here you just need to provide the index number from where you need to remove the element. So let's suppose I again need to remove the element from the very top. So we will provide the 0th index, and then how many number of elements you want to remove. So let's suppose I again want to remove So this represents how many elements. If you want to remove this one, this one, this one, this one. So all these, if you want to remove all the elements, you will type here the number of elements you want to remove from the starting index. So I will simply say here 4. So this will simply means that 0, this will be removed, Kane will be removed, to Tom, Mitchell, you can see Latham. So now this will be an empty array. So if you just console log it, so before if you print out the array, this will contain 4 elements, and after invoking this method, splice method, this will be an empty array. So if you see, first one was, you can see clearly 4 elements were present, Kane, Tom, Mitchell, Latham, and after this splice method you will see this array is empty right here. So this is the beauty of this method, guys. You can add new array elements, you can remove all the array elements depending upon the index you provide here. Let's suppose I change this index from 1, so now only Kane will be removing, Kane will be there and rest of the elements will be removed. You will see that only one element is present right here and rest of the elements are removed here. And you can change this index number, play with this arrow method here. You can provide any index number out there, so you will see 2 elements will be there. So this is primarily the splice method, which is used to remove and add new array elements. And now we will talk about the second method here, which is called as slice method. And this is also same method, but it works differently in the background. Let me take an example here and explain to you what does this method do here. So the name is slice here. This method was splice. So the naming convention is also very same, but you need to. So again, we take the same example here of the users here. So you can take this example here. So again, we have 4 names out there inside this users array here. And now this is the method you will invoke on this array object here, which is called as slice here. So again, you need to provide the beginning index value here as a first argument here. So this also takes 2 arguments here. So let's suppose I want to slice this array from the first index. So as you all know, indexing starts from 0 inside array here. So we need to slice a new array from this first position Tom here. You can see that. So now what will be the output of this statement here if I now console log it? So this will only contains these 3 elements out there. And the main difference between the splice and the slice method, guys, basically it will create a new array. It will not modify this original array. So that was the difference. So the splice method was modifying the original array. It was not creating the new array. But now if I console log it, you will see it will entirely create a new array out there. And let me just console log this here. And for that you need to store this value inside a variable. So you just need to create another variable here. And now if you console log this, and if I now console log the users here, and now if I open this in the console here, you will see that it will create a new array. You can see that the original array was not modified, but it created this new array here which contains these 3 elements, and this name was not there. You can see the 0th index value is not there, the rest of the elements are there, and it created its own new array. So this is the situation. You need to decide which method to use in which situation. If you don't want to modify the original array, you can use this method in order to create a new array. If you want to modify the original array, then in that case you can use the previous method. So you can see that it has created this new array right here. And also you can also provide the second argument as well. So this method also takes, if you want to provide here, let's suppose 1 to 3. So let's suppose we have 5 elements out there. So you can see we have 6 elements in the array here. So you can even provide a range as well inside the slice array. So let's suppose you want to remove the array elements from the index number starting from 1 to 3. So if I pass here 1 comma 3, so what will be the output here? So if I now console log modify here, so what it will do, guys, basically it will now remove the elements. It will create a new array. It will slice this array from the index number, which starting from the first element here, which is Tom here, you can see. And now it will run until it reaches this index number, which is 3. Which this index will be 2, this will be 3. And this 3 index value is not included in this slice array. So this value later will not be included in the resultant array. So now basically if I console log this, the output you will see it will only contains these two elements, Tom Mitchell. So the last value will not be included here. So now if you can see only two elements are present inside this array. The third one, which is the third index, this one is not included. So this is the difference here. So you can even provide a range as well. And if you don't provide this second argument here, it will include all the elements here from this index number, which is the first index number, if you don't provide the second argument. So now it will include all these elements starting with index number 1. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So exactly 5 elements will be present right here. You will see that. So basically these are the main differences between these two methods out there, splice and slice. So both these methods support, you can remove elements, certain elements inside the array. You just need to give the range number. And the main difference is that this method slice, it creates the new array, while the splice method modifies the original array. It doesn't create the new array. You have seen the return types as well with complete examples. So I have also written a complete blog post explaining these concepts with real-time screenshots. So if you want to read the blog post instead of watching this video, you can also go to the description of this video. The blog post is present, and also the source code that I have used here, I have also given that source code in the description of this video. And I will be seeing you in the next video.